מזמור לדוד, אדוני רואי לא אחסר, בנוטש ירביצני, על מי מנוחות ינחלני, נפשי שובב, ינחני ומגלה צדק למען שמו, גם כי אלך בגצון מוות, לא ירא רע, כי אתה עמדי. שבטך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני. תערוך לפני שולחן נגד צורריי. דשנת בשמן ראשי, כוסי רוויה, אך טוב וחסד ירדיפוני, כל ימי חיי, ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. I've chanted for you the words of our 23rd Psalm. As we face these difficult times, on days where we feel we are searching for comfort and strength, we often turn to the psalmist. And so I invite you at this time to recite with me these beautiful words of comfort. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we will remember her. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we will remember her. In the opening buds and in the rebirth of spring, we will remember her. In the blueness of sky and in the warmth of summer, we will remember her. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we will remember her. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we will remember her. When we are weary and in need of strength, we will remember her. And when we are lost and sick at heart, we will remember her. When we have joys we yearn to share, we will remember her. So long as we live, she too will live, for she is now a part of us as we remember Marjorie Kest. To you, Shelley, and to her children, Bennett, Jody, Pam, and also to Jeff, and to her grandchildren, Chelsea, Sarah, Allie, Avery, Zach, and Carly, to her sisters, Roz and Pauline, and her brothers, Michael and Marvin, to her brother-in-law, Malcolm, and her sisters-in-law, Marion and Sandy, and to all the members of the family, and to so many dear and cherished friends. We've gathered today to remember, but also to celebrate the life of your beloved Margie. We have been taught that birth is a beginning and death a destination, and life is a journey from childhood to maturity and from youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion, and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength or strength to weakness and often back again, from health to sickness and back we pray to health again, from offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, from grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not in some high place along the way, but in having made the journey, stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning and death a destination, and life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage to life everlasting. Margie's journey began here in Cleveland. She was born on November 24th, 1935, to Esther and Bernie Singer. Following her birth, Marjorie Singer returned with her parents to their home in Akron. Margie and her 4 younger siblings, Roz, Pauline, Michael, and Marvin, they all grew up in Akron. Their mother Esther was a homemaker, a balabust, and their father Bernie worked for B.F. Goodrich. Esther's mother, Margie's grandmother, Sarah Berry, lived in the same home with Margie and her parents and 4 siblings. Margie grew exceptionally close with her grandma Sarah, who spoke only Yiddish, and Margie was able to understand every word her grandmother spoke. In later years, after Grandma Sarah's passing, Marjorie always felt her grandmother's presence. She felt as if Grandma Sarah was watching over her, like a guardian angel. Margie attended Bucktill High School, and after school, she would go to work at her Aunt Pauline's produce market. She also became involved at the Akron Jewish Center in a club especially for teenage girls known as the Amy's. Roz, you described Margie to me as a wonderful sister. You said that she was always very caring, very loving, and she was always there for you, for Pauline, and for Michael and Marvin. She was there when her siblings needed her. You recalled that following her graduation, you said that your sister went right to the workforce. And Roz, you remember that she worked for the University of Akron as the secretary of their maintenance department. Roz and Pauline, you remembered that during the 2 years Margie worked there, she was also selected to appear on a game show. I know there's some people out here today who remember this show. What's My Line? Now, Margie was on this show because no one could believe that this lovely, gentle, feminine young lady worked for a college maintenance department. At 20 years old, Margie moved from Akron to Cleveland, where she began working as a secretary at U.S. Steel. While working there, Margie made a friend, Ruthie, and Ruthie wanted to set Margie up on a date, a blind date, with her friend, Shelley. Margie told Ruthie that it would be okay for Shelley to call her. And so days, maybe even weeks passed, and Ruthie asked Shelley if he had called Marjorie Singer, to which she replied, no. The reason that he hadn't called? Well, Shelley explained to Ruthie that the last girl she tried to fix him up with was not so terrific, so he wasn't trusting Ruthie on this one. But Ruthie persisted, and she told Shelley, you have to call her. And Shelley, you listened to Ruthie. You called Margie, and your first date was at the Fairmount Theater. You went to see a movie. The next morning was a Sunday, and Shelley awoke unusually early. And when his mother saw that he was up and out of bed so early on a Sunday morning, she inquired, what are you doing? And Shelley said, I'm invited to a brunch in Akron to meet the family of my future wife. Shelley, you and Margie were engaged just 6 weeks later, and you were married in Akron soon after that by Rabbi Leipzig. Shelley and Margie made their very first home at the Cliffview Apartments in Cleveland. But in 1958, when Shelley's father died, his mom wanted Shelley and Margie to move in with her, and they did. We know that Margie was not only a wonderful daughter, but she was a wonderful and dedicated daughter-in-law. In 1959, Bennett entered into their world. He was named for Shelley's father, Benjamin. And then the Kest family began a new chapter in their journey along life's path. A few years later, Jody joined the family, and a few more years after that, Pam was born, completing the Kest family portrait. The family made their very first home together in University Heights and then settled finally in Highland Heights. Shelley, in your 59 years of marriage, you knew your beloved Margie as someone who was always so easy to get along with. She was your partner. She was, as you said, a wonderful listener. Sometimes she listened to what you told her was the best idea, and sometimes you listened to her, but she always listened with an open mind and an open heart. And Shelley, you knew from your very first date that Margie was your beshert. She was the one who was meant to be. Shelley, you worked so diligently to provide for the family, working 6 days a week at your store, Rocky River Beverage. And when you knew that the store would be exceptionally busy with holidays or long weekends, Margie would work side by side with you there. And when you were not at the store, whether you and Margie were going dancing or going to the movies or going on many adventures as you traveled to Israel and Greece and Alaska and all the river cruises and ocean cruises, or perhaps the years that the two of you spent as snowbirds in Delray, Florida, whatever it was, and as hard as you both worked, you always made time to enjoy life. But Shelley, you will agree that nothing brought your beloved Margie more joy than family, especially your children. Margie would eagerly attend Bennett's baseball games, Jody's basketball, softball, and tennis games, and Pam, she would schlep you along. You were her partner in crime. You went to all these events with your mom, and while you claimed that you were not the athlete of the family, we know you and your mom engaged in athletic shopping. You shared that passion as well. But the three of you gave your mom so much joy, so much nachas, whether it was the academic accomplishments, your athletic achievements, of which there were many, including Jody setting a record at Mayfield High School and earning 12 letters, the goals that each of you set for yourself professionally, and simply joyfully watching you in raising your own children. Your mom was never lacking when it came to kvelling and showing pride over her three children. Pam, Jody, and Bennett, the three of you have been your mom's heart, and you've been her greatest joy. And we also know that Chelsea and Sarah, Allie and Avery, and Zach and Carly, they have been Margie's most precious gems. I would say that the 6 grandchildren would be the 6 jewels in Margie's crown. Her grandchildren have always known and felt their grandmother's love, and they've always understood how very proud of them their grandmother has been throughout the years. And I must mention that her 5 granddaughters are here with us today, and her grandson Zach is here with us in spirit. He is on a very important mission called March of the Living, where he was visiting Poland and the concentration camps during Yom HaShoah, and he is now in Israel preparing to celebrate Yom HaAtzmaut, Israel's Independence Day. But we know that his spirit and his love is here with us today. Margie was a wonderful daughter, an incredible sister, and for 59 years, a very devoted wife to Shelley. She was always a loving and caring and supportive mother and grandmother. And Margie, I must mention, was also an amazing friend to so many of you. If you were Margie and Shelley's friends, well, you were really family. That's how they treated you. You were family. That's just how it was. For Margie and Shelley, if they called you friend, you were part of the family. Margie was active in ORT. She bowled with B'nai B'rith. She enjoyed playing Maj, and she loved reading romance novels in the shade. Margie volunteered at several libraries, and she and Shelley were longtime members of Congregation Bethanu, and together they volunteered at Montefiore. Marjorie Kest was a beautiful and kind woman who was truly, as we would say in Yiddish, a gute neshama, a good soul. And we join now with the sages of our people as we declare Zichrona Livrach. We pray that the memory of Margie and the good deeds that she performed in the land of the living always will be a blessing. Amen. Our tradition teaches us that words that come from our heart enter directly to the heart. And today some of her children and grandchildren rise up to bless her name. And I'd first like to call on her children, Bennett, Jody, Pam, and also Jeff.
Our mom was an amazing mother, wife, daughter, sister, aunt, and friend. Generous, she would always want for others before herself, always. My dad knew he had found a keeper, and a keeper she was, just shy of 60 years. My parents had a wonderful life together. She was so devoted to our father up until her last days, still worrying about his future and his well-being, his medicines, his diet, his doctor's appointments. We assured her he will be taken care of. My mom gave me so many of her amazing qualities that I am so lucky and honored to carry on. She was kind, generous, happy, and she never complained, even to her last days at the Wells and at the Maltz Hospice House. We would say, "Mom, are you in any pain?" She would always reply, "No, no pain." One of the best gifts my mom gave me was my confidence and self-esteem. No matter what, she would always say, "You are so beautiful," in her eyes, and no matter what you put on, you always look gorgeous. My mom was an amazing daughter-in-law to my grandmother, Toby Bernstein, and as many of you here know, that was not she was not always an easy person. But leave it to Margie and Shelley, they were always there for her. They were amazing children to their mother, Toby. It really showed me the importance of taking care of your parents. I have so much respect for both of my mom and my dad. Margie was never a daughter-in-law in Toby's eyes. And I feel blessed that I too have that kind of relationship with my in-laws. I would do anything for them. And I know they would do the same for me and my family. Growing up in our house, there was one thing that happened every night. After 5 p.m., we did not talk on the house phone. It must be available for our father to call to say he was leaving work, which was the signal that dinner time was around the corner. My mom never wanted our dad to call and have a busy signal. And for those of you that are of a certain age, you don't know what a busy signal is. There wasn't call waiting. My mom never left my dad alone. Well, maybe a few times for her B'nai B'rith bowling tournaments in Lima, Ohio. Until I had Allie, until I had Allie. My mom wanted to stay with me for a week. Dad drove her in and stayed a few days, and then he drove home. A week later, he came back because our mom would never drive on the freeways. She loved waking up in the middle of the night to give her, hold on, her and each of my children their bottles in the middle of the night. She would always say, "I feel like I'm holding you." She would always say, "It feels like just yesterday this was you." And it goes so fast. And I believe her, it does go so fast. That little baby is now graduating from college this Saturday. And now her grandmother will be able to be there, but just from another seat. And don't think for 1 second that my mom did not plan her exit exactly how she wanted it, because she did. She wanted Allie to graduate without anyone worrying about her. And she just lived for her grandchildren. She tried her hardest to never miss anything, not a ballet recital. Watching Allie, Avery, and Carly dance made her so happy. Grandma was always there with her disposable cameras. Even when we bought her a good camera, she just loved those disposable ones. Our son Zachary is in Israel right now. He was very worried about Grandma before he left. I told him, "You will go, and if something happens while you are gone, Grandma wants you to stay on your trip and continue having a trip of a lifetime." He texted me to please tell Grandma he knows what he wants for his upcoming 18th birthday, for her to be there at his high school graduation. She will be there at this too, just from the seats above. My mom always put her husband and children first. She waited until she was alone at the Maltz hospice house to leave us. She would not have it any other way. They say that people who do that have a lot of pride. And I could probably say that my mom passed away with so much pride and joy. And maybe that is why she always carried a little black and white photo in her wallet of a bottle of pride and joy. And when I was a little girl, I remember asking her why she carried that picture. And her reply was, because it reminded her every day of their wonderful life and family filled with pride and joy.
Today, my sister went to a drug mart to drop off thousands of pictures and to put it together. And when she went there, she told the lady, I can't put these together. If you don't mind, just do what you want. You'll do a great job. And we got the picture back, and inside was an envelope with this note. And we never met this lady before today. And so this was not planned, but this will show a lot about what my mom was all about. Miss Berkowitz, I just wanted to say thank you. I can tell from your pictures that your mom was a lovely person. She has a beautiful smile and seems like the kind of woman who could brighten everyone else's day. I hope you have many happy memories to cherish. Your mom lives in spirit and in your memories. My condolences to you and your family. Kelly P., DDM Phototech. And that just shows you what kind of influence my mom has on people. The Kests, we tell a lot of stories, and my mom was the best of telling stories. So I'm going to tell a few why my mom was loved by so many people and why she's a great mom, wife, grandmother, aunt, sister, and cousin. My mom was kind and caring to everyone she met. She made every person feel special. She had this book. It was a folder that you had slots that you put in every month, people's birthdays, anniversaries, you name it. And it had a calendar and listed everybody's birthday on it. And she would buy these cards months in advance and put them in the little folder with the stamp, with it addressed. And a week beforehand, she would look in there and she would mail it out. She missed nobody. That's why you see so many people in this room. I was so impressed with that because I forget everybody's. I'm at this end, she's at this end. And so I asked her if she could make one together for me. So she did, put everybody's anniversary, everybody's birthday, everybody's, and it's still sitting there with no envelopes in it. So it was a good thought, though. I was going through her stuff, and I found the newest book that she had. And she asked me a few weeks ago if I could send them all out. So don't freak out in the next month or 2 or 3 when you get a birthday card or anniversary card and it already has her signature on that. That's the kind of woman she was. Always, always put everybody ahead. I got a text yesterday from one of my former assistants, Bob Olden, and I totally forgot about this. He said he will never forget the time when she came into the hospital when the twins were born and brought some gifts. Kind to everybody. It didn't matter who it was. Oops, I went off. I was so blessed that after 32 years, Bennett and I had the chance to live with my mom and dad for almost 4 months. I remember talking to my uncle, Malcolm, and how devastated I was that my mom was sick. And he told me to embrace the opportunity to spend quality time with your parents. At first, it was, oh boy, she's going to tell me when to make my bed. I never made my bed. I still didn't make my bed when she was there. When to put the dishes in, you know. She always told me, when you live in my house, my rules. Now, she's in my house. So now I thought, my house, my rules. Nope. Still Jody house, but mom rules. It was amazing for us to share that much quality time together, and it was priceless. Watching the Indians game together, Lifetime Movie Network, which I didn't know was her favorite channel, SVU, and many great talks. I cherished every moment we spent together and feel it was a blessing to spend those 4 months in my house. Everyone knows that I love playing sports growing up. Mom and I, we battled a lot, especially early. She wanted me to do the dishes, wanted me to sweep. I didn't want to do that. Dad persuaded her to let me play sports, and Mom allowed me to follow my dreams. So supportive of all of our dreams, Bennett, myself, her grandkids. She allowed us to be ourselves. I called my parents 11 years ago, and I asked them, what are you doing on Friday? They said, we're going to Columbus. We're going to go see Pam. I said, great. Do you mind picking me up at the University of Akron? Because I'm going to be introduced as the new women's basketball coach. She was so proud. Akron, her hometown. Worked at Akron. Grandfather worked at Goodrich. I had the chance for the first time to tell both how much I loved and appreciated that they supported me, things that I loved to do. I was gone for 25 years, moving from West Coast to East Coast to the South, taking pay cuts. They could never understand why would you take this job going from 20,000 to 28 and then go back to 20. But they believed in me and they supported me. And that was truly a blessing, beautiful day. Unconditional love for all of her children. What a day for me to remember. For them to be part of something so special to me is priceless, and I will never forget that memory. Our family flew Mom and Dad to our basketball championship at the Q in 2013. And Dad got sick and missed a semifinal game, and we lost in the finals. The following year, Dad couldn't travel, so they stayed in Florida and watched every single game, listening to her favorite Bill Morgan on the radio. She was always upset when we lost. She was more mad at my team than me. I don't know if that's possible. I can get pretty mad at my team. She was more mad, telling me what my players should do. When we won the championship game, I got this necklace from them that I got right here, and I have never taken it off since she gave it to me. It says, MAC Champs UA 2014, love Mom and Dad. The necklace reminds me every day how lucky I am to have two great parents that love us all unconditionally. Mom, you will always be loved by all of us. Memories are forever, and you will always be remembered by your kindness to everyone that you touched. Love you forever.
It is with great sadness that I stand up here today delivering this eulogy for my mother. When I first thought about delivering her eulogy, I did not know if I would be strong enough to do so. However, I spent some time thinking about all the great moments we spent together and all the attributes that made my mom so special. I knew that I had to share them with everyone here. My mother lived her life by the quote, "It is more blessed to give than to receive." This is a beautiful quote to live by. My mother cared deeply for everyone she knew, whether you were her family member, friend, and sometimes a stranger. My mother was always willing to help out someone in need and had a very kind heart. I couldn't have asked for a better mother. She taught me a lot. She was always there for me. As I got older, my mom was still there for me when I needed her the most. We enjoyed visiting Mom and Dad on weekends at the camper so that we could spend time and they could spend time with Chelsea, Sarah, Lisa, and I. I will miss my mother dearly, and I am so happy for the time we got to spend together. She was a caring and loving person and was the best mother in the whole world. Even though she is gone, her memory will still be in our hearts forever. God bless you, Mom. Your friends and family will miss you forever. I want to thank Mom's sisters, nephews, cousins, sister, brother-in-laws, family and friends who traveled near and far to share Mom's celebration of life and death. What a great tribute to Mom. I also want to thank all the doctors, nurses, and healthcare workers who were so kind and loving to our mother. Cancer is an ugly death. But all these professionals treated our mom so warmly and with much kindness that her transition from being healthy to her death was peaceful and in the least amount of pain. I want to share a couple stories close to my heart. So Mom and Dad, so they had a CB. They belonged to a CB club. Figure that out, right? Dad had a big bass CB in the bedroom, and he also had one in the car. And after Rocky River, when he called home, when we couldn't be on the phone, he'd get on the CB, and Mom would be right there. And they both had names. Mom was Lady, Dad was River. And you'd hear this, and we'd be sitting on the bed. Lady there, hi, River. And Dad, Rocky River was far where we lived in University Heights, no freeways. No freeways. So it was always Martin Luther King, bad neighborhood. She was always worried about him. So once she got the okay, it was out of, in the clear, she'd take us three downstairs, and dinner was already being made, and she'd put on the Victrola back then, a 45. She'd put us on a white couch that my grandmother's had still the plastic on it. You stick to it. She'd sit us down. She'd sit us down on the couch, put this record on, and what she did was way before lip syncing, right? She did pantomime. That's what they called it back then. And one of her favorite songs she would sing to us was, I Want You to Be My Baby. And so I'm going to say it, and then I'd like you to repeat after me, please. And it goes like this. I want you. I want you to. I want you to be what? I want you to be my baby. Will you please? Will you please tell? Will you please tell me what? You're gonna be my baby. And she'd point her finger. And she was great. She was unbelievable. Unbelievable. Another story, Jody, Pam, and I, we knew Mom was shopping at May Company. We knew she was in her Ford Maverick orange. I think I just got my license. I took both my sisters. We said, let's go play a joke on Mom, and we went to the May Company, and we had the keys to her car. So we moved her car. And we never laughed so hard together. I remember laughing so hard, just thinking about Mom's reaction. Just thinking about what she's going to do and where she's going to go. And sure enough, she came out and, she went to the spot. The car's not there. We're still laughing. And it was just so funny. But when she saw us, it wasn't funny to her. And back then, we didn't have timeouts. There was no timeouts. There's no timeouts. Mom was healthy her whole life, never sick, always taking care of everyone until last year when she got sick. Mom and Dad moved in with Jody and I, and we got them home health care. She was now being taken care of for the first time in her life. As she was getting better one day, I asked her, I said, Mom, let's cut back on the aids. And she was like, no, I like this. I really like this. And she smiled, and it was beautiful to see, because for the first time we were taking care of Mom. And Mom was born a singer. She lived her life at Kest, and she died a queen. Mom, I'm going to miss you. I love you very much. Thank you. At the end of life, what really matters is not what we bought, but what we built. Not what we got, but what we shared. Not our competence, but our character. And not our success, but our significance. Live a life that matters. Live a life of love.
I'd also like to call on her granddaughters to join me.
We just wanted to share a couple stories and things personally that Grandma did for us grandchildren. Wanted to start off with every meal. Grandma would have her water, her meal, but next to it would be a glass of Merlot at every meal. And I thought that was normal. Then I realized, Grandma, why are you drinking wine? Like, I thought that's bad. No, wine's good. One full glass at every meal, and she had that until like 3 years ago. Grandma would be at every dance recital, whether it was in Cleveland or Columbus, baseball games for us, graduations, and she always was there for Sarah and I. We lived on the same street. She lived on this side of Brainerd, and we lived on this side of Brainerd. And when Sarah and I were able to ride our bikes to Grandma's by ourselves without Mom and Dad, Grandma would meet us at the end of the driveway. And until we were 14, 15, Grandma would still insist on not us crossing the road by ourselves, and she would grab my hand and walk me across the street. And I used to be, Grandma, stop. Like, I don't need to hold your hand. And she was like, oh, yes, you do. And she grabbed my hand and made sure, like, it's my rules. You're holding my hand. And I did until I was 14 years old, held my grandma's hand crossing the street. For us, Grandma and Grandpa always had the best Hanukkahs for us. I'm the oldest, so for 2 years I had the most gifts I've ever seen in a picture for Hanukkah. And then as the years came, each picture you see another grandchild and less presents. But we always celebrated Hanukkah. Grandma always made a sign with the year and always made sure we had every picture for every year. Made sure we always had presents. Made sure we always got what we asked for. And one thing that we'll never forget that I think we're going to do for our children is Grandma and Grandpa over the year would save up in a big pretzel jar, would put quarters and half-dollar bills. Not pennies, not dimes, not nickels, quarters, and maybe some dimes. But we were allowed one scoop. And as we were younger, we were allowed two. And whatever you grabbed was yours. Me being the oldest, I always was able to just, let's do two. And then she's like, Chelsea, no. Like, you get one scoop, and the rest of your cousins and sister, they'll get two. And I'm like, that's not fair. And then they realized what we would be doing after and how we would scoop it to the side and just reach out real fast because our hands kept getting bigger. And she's like, all right, we're done. We're done doing this. I don't have enough change in there for all of 6 of you. So that's something that I think I still have the $50. I still have all the quarters. They're in a baggie that says Chelsea. Grandma had her little sayings. For instance, rubbish. She always said, put that in the rubbish. And slacks. She never said jeans. She never said pants. It was slacks. And for a long time, I had no idea what slacks were. I was like, no, Grandma, I'm wearing jeans. She's like, yeah, slacks. I don't. So she always she kept to her sayings, and sometimes I catch myself even saying it. Grandma, when they said about the birthday cards, not only birthday cards, but me being the oldest, I was off to college first. I always got Halloween cards, Valentine's Day cards. And I knew, oh, it's a card from Grandma. And it was always so nice not only to get the card, but to get just like, you know, a little money in there too with every holiday. So I loved Halloween and Valentine's Day and birthdays because there's always a little something in there. And we can all say that that was something we look forward to. And I still have a voicemail of Grandma and Grandpa singing happy birthday to me. It was just something they always did, leaving voicemails for us and singing together on everyone's birthdays. So that's just something, just a couple little things that we wanted to share with you about Grandma. And she was always there for us, and I was really happy to be there on one of her last nights that she was able to be there and talk to me, and we watched the Indians game together, and we had some conversations. And being the oldest, I'm really glad that Grandma opened up to me and told me stories, and she always let me know right from wrong. Chelsea, you really shouldn't be wearing this. And Chelsea, I like your hair straight and not curly. So I was like, really? But she insisted on my straight hair, so today I wear my hair straight for her. So other than that, I think that's all we wanted to let you guys know about our grandma. So.
We take a moment of silent prayer as we ask God to accept Margie's soul. And as you are able, I invite you to rise for El Malei Rachamim, the memorial prayer. El Malei Rachamim, shochen במרומים, עמסי מנוחה נכונה תחת כנפי השכינה, במעלות קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע מסעירים, את נשמת מלכה בת ברל והדסה, שהלכה לעולמה בגן עדן, תהא מנוחתה. אנא בהרחמים אסתירך, בסתר כנפיך לעולמים, ותצרור בצרור חיים את נשמתה. אדוני הוא נחלתה, ותנוח בשלום, על משכבה ונאמר Amen. O merciful God, who dwells on high, who is full of compassion, grant perfect rest beneath the shelter of your divine presence among the holy and pure, who shine as the brightness of the firmament. To our dear departed Marjorie Kest, who has gone to her eternal home, may her soul be bound up in the bonds of eternal life, and grant that her memory inspire all of us to noble and consecrated living. Amen. Please be seated. Just a couple brief announcements. The family will be receiving visitors at the Wiles of Bainbridge on Chillicothe Road in Chagrin Falls. Visitation will be today, immediately following the interment, until 8 p.m. tonight, and also tomorrow from 1 until 4 p.m., and then again from 7 until 9 p.m. Friends who wish to make a contribution in memory of Margie, the family has suggested that you might consider the Maltz Hospice Home and Palliative Care, which is in care of the Montefiore Foundation. On behalf of the entire family, we thank you for being here on this sad but very important day.